We're live.
Yay!
No intro, nothing.
We've
Messed up
had
a
a,
little bit. Got our
yeah, we've had
times
a
wrong.
few we've had a few concerns. We
Oh,
kind of arranged for tonight to be a 10 questions with a new video series for you guys to enjoy, and we were hoping to chat with Diamond Select's Zach, who's a really cool guy. He's been on the channel before, but I think we've told him to log in at 10 o'clock GMT time, and that would mean 11 o'clock our time, not British
yeah.
Summer Time, because we're stupid.
Why do our clocks do this? Like jump around, and they just kind of what? You know what? There's a possibility that he's going to jump on while we're
Hopefully,
chatting, and if he does, then we'll
continue as
continue as
normal.
we go
Yay!
on. If he doesn't, then we'll just turn this into a little geek chat. Just with me and Sorrel. Just GEEK WEEK Plus. We were chatting about Gambit, weren't we? Gambit and X-Men and stuff like that. Because for anyone watching, I don't know if you've seen, but I mean, I shared it on my Instagram. I know a load of people have shared it all over the place. But Ryan Reynolds officially released that clip of Gambit at the end of Deadpool and Wolverine, where he's kind of walking away from the camera, stuff happens, and then stuff happens to his eyes, and everyone's got their own opinions on what it is. But we were just sort of saying, you know, about whether there's legs for a solo Gambit movie, or whether this is just a little bit of fan service and kind of giving us that kind of extra little bit of hope that he's still there. It's an interesting one, I think. I really do. I think it's an interesting concept.
Yeah, we were kind of chatting off camera moment about. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what they would possibly do with a solo Gambit project. He's got to be part of an ensemble. I personally think if he's going to come back, it'll probably be for Secret Wars.
Yeah, I'd love to see him back for Secret Wars. I don't think one thing I'm pretty sure is I don't think we've seen the end of him. I think we'll definitely see something else, or he'll pop up somewhere else. It's just you know,
one thing we've not really discussed yet, you know, after seeing your little trailer thing that you put together with all the X-Men 97 soundtrack and all the characters we've had so far.
I haven't shared it yet.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Oh, no!
Spoiler! It's all right. It's all right. Keep your eye on my socials. There's quite a cool little thing going on. Right. Yeah. Anyway, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that we've obviously had a few different characters so far that have already been introduced to us, like Kelsey Grammer's Beast.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to show up in the next big event? Like, do you think he'll show up in Secret Wars?
Well, when you look at it,
just imagine how cool it would be. Obviously, keep your eye on Jacob's channels, but imagine that X-Men soundtrack, and then you get Gambit jumping into frame, Wolverine, Beast stood behind him, and that'd be amazing to sort of see a couple of the X-Men back together.
Well, the thing is they've already given us. We were saying, weren't they? They've already given us like some of the core teams. We've got Wolverine, we've seen Beast, we've seen Gambit, like all of these kind of newer X-Men, Professor Xavier, like we've seen all of them in the MCU so far. And okay, there's all the kind of multiversal, you know, wibbly wobbly stuff, but we've seen some of these characters, and it almost seems like a waste to then just start with another bunch of people. That makes sense, or like recast those characters. One thing though, talking about old characters and stuff like that, just before jumping on, they've shared a picture of the Thing from Fantastic Four.
Ooh.
And it's a practical suit with CGI effects, and it looks very comic booky. Like people are kind of going, "What is this?" But it is a proper, like the round heads, the underbite. Like it's a really cool looking suit, which really gives me hope for what this Fantastic Four film is going to be like. But yeah.
What if? Oh, here's the thing. What if they do what they've done in Fortnite recently? What if the new Doom kills the original Fantastic Four? Like, you know, the original, like, bring back the 4 cast members. We've already lost Human Torch; she's already been murdered. But I mean, like the Thing in right now in Fortnite, the Doctor Doom has basically destroyed Thing and turned him into his personal throne. He's like sat on Thing.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So I mean, how cool would that be to see in live action, like the Robert Downey Jr. version of Doctor Doom just ripping apart Thing? And
be pretty cool. I have played some of the new Fortnite. Have you played any of it?
A little bit.
I don't know whether it's. I love the Marvel stuff. I love the Marvel skins. Like I'm running around with like the sketch Deadpool suit at the moment and stuff like that. But I don't know whether it's just been a long time since I played it properly, but there just seems to be too many like mythic weapons and legendary weapons. Like everyone's got like a blaster pack or like whatever, and like you're kind of running around, and it's like, what is this? It's just like
it's become very unbalanced. It used to be quite a balanced game. Everyone starting on the same level pegging and just grabbing guns and shooting each other. When they started introducing things like Thor's hammer and the Whip of Destiny or whatever the hell they call it, and crap like that, it just gets silly now.
Yeah. Bethany Beth said Fortnite is rubbish. Yeah.
It's not like it used to be. It is now. It's not like it used to be. I used to love the fact that you could build a massive tower and then sniper from it for ages and stuff like that. I used to love stuff like that.
But then she said she's never played it. You know what? I used to think the same, Bethany. I used to be like, you know what, that's rubbish. And then my son was like, oh, they've got Marvel. This is when they first introduced the first Marvel story back in like series 4 or 5 or whatever it was. And I loved it because it was like a story within the game. So there was like Doom, and then there was like She-Hulk and that kind of stuff. Like, and there was legitimately like a story within the game. And it was just fun. Speaking of computer games, though, have you seen Marvel versus Capcom? Like the big bundle pack.
But the big bundle pack, yeah.
Comes out digitally in September and then physically in November.
Capcom are also releasing a fighting bundle and a street fighting bundle as well.
Yeah.
The Capcom are going to town right now on the bundles.
Zach's on his way.
Yay!
Zach is on his way. So he said he got the times muddled up. So we'll go with that.
Go back to Shelley's question. Shelley sort of mentioned she wants to know if they're planning on releasing any more Muppets. She's managed to snag Kermit, Miss Piggy from the whole shebang today, along with Fozzie and Gonzo. It's because you put Fonzie. I got confused then. Fozzie and Gonzo. Well, if that's all you've got a long way to go, because I've got all of them, and you've still got the Electric Mayhem to get, Beaker and Bunsen, the Eagle, Sam the Eagle. You've got
what's the new one that they've just released? The Sweetums,
Sweetums, and you can also get the Blue Dragon. I forgot his name. Uncle.
Yeah.
Uncle something. Yeah, the little dragon. I think I mentioned Sam the Eagle. Then you've got to get the Swedish Chef. He's still on there. And all of the Electric Mayhem band. So there's quite a few now of the Diamond Select Muppets. And do you know what? What I'm loving is the new NECA Sesame Street figures will scale with the Muppets, which is amazing. So like Bert and Ernie are the same scale as Fozzie and Miss Piggy. Nice. They're all similar sizes. So they'll all stand together, which is awesome. So there was a lot of crossover with like Kermit and stuff. So Kermit will be in scale with them, which is awesome.
That's wicked. That is wicked. Shelly said, I have the band.
Yeah, the Muppets are one of my favourites from Diamond to collect. I love the Muppets. I've got nearly all of them now.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is Zach is on his way, so we are going to talk Diamond Select. So we're going to talk about the figures that are out, the figures that we like. Have a couple of questions about kind of figures that we're hoping to see. But it's just a really good brand. Like for me, action figure collecting, before the Marvel Legends, before the NECAs, before the Hot Toys, like all that kind of stuff, it was the Select, and they were some of the first action figures that I remember getting. I remember going into my comic book store and just seeing those massive boxes that they come in, and there was just something really aesthetically pleasing about seeing, like, one of the shops I had must have had 50 or 60 different Marvel Selects on the wall, and just seeing all of those boxes like next to each other, and just being able to go and see the figure and the diorama piece, and so that was some of the first kind of action figures I got. But just as a brand, it's just a very cool brand. You know, they cover so many different properties that I think it often gets overlooked here in the UK because of distribution and stuff, and there's not as many places that distribute it in the UK as there is in America and stuff like that.
Well, if you wait for my videos in America in a couple of days, in about less than a week's time now, apparently, from what Shelley was telling me, apparently Universal Studios is like the toys that time forgot, because apparently they don't change stock very often. Apparently there's so many very old Diamond Selects out there, and she's not the first person to tell me that.
Amazing.
So,
to be fair, even when I went to Universal a few years back, I remember thinking how many cool variations of Diamond Select there were available. I just couldn't convince my wife to let me get any more figures. I already had like a suitcase of figures that I was bringing back. But yeah, no, it's a very cool.
Do you know what I'm really enjoying collecting at the moment? It's really stupid, but I've got to share it with you. I'm really enjoying collecting these little mini ducks.
Oh, what are they called?
So tubs. These are mini tubs. Yeah. You can get the big tubs, which are like large ducks, but these are the miniature ones. They're like $5.99 each.
Yeah.
So I've got a Stay Puft Marshmallow Duck, and then my personal favourite.
No way! Is that a Bruce?
Hey, Bruce from Jaws with the ducks inside.
Whoa!
It's so good.
I think this one's for you, Sorrell. Robert Oliver said, at SuperSorrell, Vanessa body, Freddy arms, Monty's legs, and Chica's leg, please.
People are asked me to make up animatronics out of these snap parts. That's like one of my go-to shorts these days. And yeah, people send me little recipes like that, and I've got to make the little figures up. So Robert, stay tuned. Yeah. I'll have a go at that tomorrow morning.
Amazing. Yeah.
Shelley's got those as well. Ghostbusters and Jaws. Yep.
Have you seen the Jaws Lego set? You know, we talked about Nightmare Before Christmas. You've seen the Jaws one?
The Jaws one. It's not even that much.
No.
It's like 120, I think.
Yeah. And the Bruce you can have coming up at the Orca, like the boat, or you can attach the back and have him on a stand. And I was like, this is very cool. Because there was a company not too long ago that did like a Bruce the Shark in scale, like a 1/12 scale Bruce the Shark. And this thing was huge. And I think it was a crowdfunded thing, or like a GoFund, not GoFundMe, that's the other one, but like I'm sure it was like a crowdfund or a Kickstart or something. But it was huge, and I was kind of like, you know what, I really want a Bruce, but yeah.
The best Bruce I found, you can get the Funko Pop moments. They're quite good. So you can get the whole boat with the guy on, and then the Bruce the Shark coming up. So that's quite cool.
Yeah. See, but that's a property that I'd like a company like Diamond Select to touch. Like, can you imagine like a Diamond Select Jaws? That would be cool. Oh, Shelley, what? How did I know you were going to have it? I've got the Jaws Lego set. Not had time to build it yet. Oh, it rhymes as well. Yeah, you know what? I haven't had a decent Lego set in a while. I've been kind of holding out for the Nightmare Before Christmas one. But then they released that one, and obviously the Jaws one as well. And I was like,
I like to look at the big Lego sets, but I never buy them. Like, I only look at the Hocus Pocus one, but I don't think I'd ever buy it. But I want it, but I just can't. I like the minifigures more than the sets.
Yeah, you know what killed it for me? I think it was the Millennium Falcon. I think like up until that point, I was buying the mid-range sets, the 1 to 250 sets. Like the animated Batman film, for example, I had the entire line, every minifigure, every set, I had 2 details full of it all. Like, I loved it. And yeah, I did all the modular builds and everything. I was really, really into it. And then I got that Millennium Falcon, and it was so big and so detailed that it made everything else look like childish in comparison. But then I had nowhere to put it. So I was kind of like, so it's kind of, for me now with Lego, it really needs to be really be something specific. And I think Jaws and Nightmare kind of tap into two of my favorite kind of older films. Because Nightmare's like, what, 25 years old now?
30 years old at least. 30 years old, isn't it?
Yeah, I went to see it in the cinema on the anniversary. I can't remember what it was. I think it was the 30th anniversary.
It came out in 1994.
Wow.
Oh God, yeah, 30. Yeah, 30.
Wow. But But yeah, I wouldn't mind picking up that Jaws set. I really wouldn't mind picking up that Jaws set, but because that's also small enough that I could put it somewhere, and it's contained. You know, you've got the characters, you've got the shark, you've got the boat. Like, what else do you need from Jaws? Like maybe like half a child on a lilo or something. But apart from that, like, speaking of that scene as well, have you seen the like the deleted, the deleted? It's terrifying. Like that scene, you know, what's his name? I can't remember the kid's name, but you know what I mean when he goes out on the yellow lilo, and then you just kind of see a splash, don't you, in the water? Just Google it, right? I'm going to do it now, actually, because it's terrifying to look at. Like they had the shark full on come out of the water and eat. It's horrendous. And yeah, if the film didn't scare you as a kid,
yeah, on the Jaws ride at Universal, right? You remember that?
My favorite ride. My favorite ride.
Because the Jaws they used in that was the one. It was to scale with the one they used when they filmed the film. And when that thing comes up at the side of the boat, it is massively terrifying. It
was my favorite ride, hands down, every time. Yeah, look, just quickly. This gave me nightmares even as an adult. I was like looking at it, like, look, look, how much worse would that have been than what we got? So yeah, never mind. I'm gonna
go on.
No, go on. What is he saying?
I was saying Shelley with the she's going to Smith's on Friday. She's doing what I'm doing. I'm going to Smith's tomorrow. I'm going to Smith's tomorrow and Saturday in hopes of finding that they've got the D&D figures out early.
I've been checking my supermarkets, but they're not there.
No, Morrison's is normally a good one for leaking, but they haven't leaked anything.
We got a guest in the wings. Let's bring him on. This is our guest this week. It is, of course, Diamond Select Toys, Zach. Zach, hello, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for joining us again, Zach. Sorry, we muddled up the times there. We messed up.
No, I don't know. I think it was probably me, but
it was probably us. Let's be honest. How are you though? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Great to be here. Just finished releasing some new information last week about what we got upcoming and getting the catalog ready for next month with a bunch of more new items. And it's something different every day. So I still love what I'm doing.
Amazing. We were just talking before you came on just about, you know, some of the stuff that Diamond Select has been pumping out and kind of putting out, especially around like San Diego Comic-Con and stuff. Like there's some really exciting things coming.
Yes. Yeah. We showed off some stuff in our panel that we weren't able to, that we still haven't shown off, like the new wave of Lord of the Rings, which we're going to be offering that, I think, in the next month or two. Because we just offered Series 8, which was Eowyn and the Witch King of Angmar. But Series 9 is going to be Toriel from The Hobbit and Old Bilbo. So that'll be cool. And we're going to show pictures of that pretty soon. I think Eamon O'Donoghue just showed off some art on a podcast, some of his two-dimensional artwork. And we just offered the new Walking Dead series, which is very cool, Series 2. And I'm trying to think what we have coming up next for action figures. Series 4 of Invincible should be coming out pretty soon. I think Series 7 of Lord of the Rings is just shipping now with Merry and Pippin. And Walking Dead Series 1 should be out pretty soon. I think it's actually shipping in the next couple of weeks. So, very cool about that.
I must admit as well, with around San Diego Comic-Con time, you guys did a lot more kind of live streaming than I've noticed before, with kind of showing different things off, and you released a couple of videos kind of showcasing stuff. That was really cool to kind of be able to watch and kind of follow along, because we've already said it with us guys over here in England and stuff and parts of Europe, because obviously San Diego is so big. Not many of us get to take the pilgrimage over to attend. It's on bucket list. I will be there at some point. But being able to kind of join in, and especially with all the different brands and stuff. So it was really great to kind of have more from Diamond Select Toys this year as well, like online. It was really, really cool. So more of that, please.
Oh, great. Yeah. We always try to do a booth tour, at least on our own, before, right when the show opens, so people can see what we have on display. Not everything from the panel makes into the display case. We had a couple prototypes that didn't make it to the show this year, which was kind of strange. We should have had them there, but they just didn't make it on the truck, I guess. So we didn't have as much in the case as we would have liked, but we had a bunch of new items there. And I always try to talk to, you know, people who come by for interviews and things like that. So,
Yeah.
you know, different outlets are interested in different things, you know, in terms of like action figures or vintage retro action figures or statues and busts. Not too many of those coming by to look at that stuff. But
yeah,
but there's always people who are interested in talking about toys, and I'm always game. So
good stuff. Speaking of busts, I've got to say the Ninja Turtles, they are a thing of beauty. That gallery diorama 4-piece is absolutely stunning. It's one of my favorite things in my collection at the minute. It's just,
thank you.
Can't see it. It's just off camera here. It's on this cabinet over here with my other turtle figures, but it's just stunning, absolutely stunning. And yeah,
do you know what's my favorite? Do you know what's still my favorite? And I'll show it off. I've got it here to hand. Yeah. My favourite one that Zach very kindly sent over, it's still one of my favourites. The Nun.
I know you love the horror.
It's such an epic piece as that. That has got pride of place on my comic shelf up top. It's awesome.
Full disclosure, I have never seen The Nun, and I've only seen one of the movies from that larger universe. I think I saw Insidious. And that scared the heck out of me. So I don't do like supernatural horror anymore. It scared it out of me.
I know Jacob's like super jealous of this one. Hang on.
Oh, this is gonna be. But the Ninja Turtle one is beautiful, and it was great that you released it. Kind of, they weren't all released at once, and you kind of saw it building up. And then when Donatello landed, beautiful.
Yeah, the great thing about Donatello is he's reversible.
Yes.
You can have him facing forward, like next to the other guys, or you can have him on the back.
Yeah,
and Ash has the crow out.
Yes, the crow's very good.
Yeah, I don't have one of those. It looks real nice.
All the way around, it's amazing. I love this thing.
I always say to people, because obviously with action figure collectors, you kind of get your different scales and stuff and whatnot. I'm very much 6, 7, and 1/6 scale. But I always say to people, like with the gallery dioramas, like you get, because most of us put them on a shelf and they'll be in a pose. And I was like, but with the gallery diorama, like statues, busts, all those kind of things, like you get everything that you would get from an action figure, but you get that added detail and those the paintwork and they're well worth picking up. Like I said, the turtles for me, fantastic, and especially because I've got a lot of 1/6 scale figures. The turtle gallery dioramas are kind of in scale, so when they like, you know, so I'm a happy boy. So.
Yeah, depending on how big you like your turtles, that definitely works. And the cool thing about some of the galleries is that some of them are kind of in scale to our 7-inch figures, our 1/10 scale figures. They're technically, galleries are usually about 1/8 scale, I think. But like if we do a bigger character like MODOK, he works well with the Marvel Selects. We just did the Cave Troll for Lord of the Rings, and he's scaled, you know, precisely to work with the 1/10 figures. So
I saw a lot of people doing photographs with like the Lord of the Rings figures and the troll as well, and it looks. I remember you saying, I think it was last time we had you on, you said about that. I think it was just before that came out actually, and you said that was going to scale. But seeing it in people's photographs and stuff is brilliant.
Do you know what I love about this crow one though, Jacob? What I love about it more than anything.
Just gonna rub it in now, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got to rub it in a little bit. It's like the fact that he comes away from the base. He's got 2 little prongs on there, so you don't even have to use that. He can just, and he stands perfectly on it. He stands perfectly on his own.
He's very nice, Sorrell. He's very nice. All right. But just pulling back to what you said about Donatello as well, because I do want to give it a little bit of love. But when I first saw the image on the back of, I think it was a Raphael box or whatever, and you saw the 4 turtles kind of facing outwards, and I was like, this is brilliant, but how am I going to display it? Like, do I need to build like a center column in my room? Like, what how am I going to do this? So when it came out, and I think even with the promo images, I kind of said like, this is really exciting. And then as soon as I got it in hand and I did a quick video, because you can pick him up and literally switch him round, and so you've got them all facing. So that solved my problem. So they're all looking at me.
That's great.
What we're going to do, Zach, we've got with the series of kind of guests that we've got coming on and stuff, we've done like a little kind of 10 question thing. So we'll throw some questions your way. Obviously, we're not going to try to pry for anything that you can't share. And if we do ask anything that you can't share any details, and obviously don't feel obliged to say anything. But it's just a way of us kind of streamlining our passion and our kind of curiosity around certain lines. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine. Ask away.
Good stuff. So go on, you take it away first, because I know you're keen to get started on your question.
Yeah, well, as we were just talking about the Lord of the Rings line and the fact that we're now going to start seeing The Hobbit as well, which is awesome. Do you think there's any scope in the future that we might see any of the Rings of Power sort of stuff, or is that a completely different license?
I'm not sure if that's part of our license. If I know season 2 has been getting a lot of good reviews, people are enjoying it, maybe even more than season 1. So that's cool. I don't know if we've got any plans. I don't believe we do right now, but as we go forward with Lord of the Rings stuff and the occasional Hobbit piece, it's certainly possible. If it's under the Warner Brothers umbrella, I think we can definitely talk to them about it, but I'm not sure about that. But yeah, we've definitely got more Lord of the Rings for sure in the works. There's at least 4 or 5 more characters that I'm aware of in development. So including White Gandalf the White. We actually prototyped him for an earlier wave when we thought we were going to be able to do Pippin and Merry as a 2-pack. But Pippin and Merry ended up being a lot more expensive than we thought, so we had to split them up into 2 separate figures. So that kind of bumped Gandalf the White back a couple waves, but he'll be coming out eventually. I think I'm the only one who has one.
Yeah, I'm the guy that sat in the corner just going, "Please, Arwen, please give us an Arwen, please." If you want, I can't remember.
There are definitely some female characters coming up, so besides Toriel. Hopefully we get to Arwen sooner rather than later.
Awesome. That leads on nicely to my first question, actually, because one of the things I really like about Diamond Select kind of action figures is that you tend, for the most part, to do kind of series of 2 figures, that they'll kind of come out in blocks of 2, which I think is, for collectors, is really good. Like with a lot of other brands, you'll get kind of quite a lot of figures included in different series or waves and stuff. But with Diamond Select, it's quite clearly this is series 2. These are these 2 figures. Here's series 3. These are these 2 figures. Is that kind of intentional? And do you kind of know the overall amount of figures that you're going to be able to produce, or is it just a kind of series by series basis?
I think most of the time when we get a license, we know that it's either a license that we can do for a long time, like get a lot of different characters out of, or we know that it's something where we could do a couple different versions of a character and it'll still work. So like your Iron Giant, your Bruce Lee, your Jean-Claude Van Damme. But for the most part, I think our goal is to make as many figures as possible. As far as going 2 at a time, we're not a big company, so for us to prototype and tool, 6 and also our licenses are usually a little niche. For instance, we can't do like Marvel Legends where we have like 6 figures that we're prototyping and tooling all at the same time, and then can't expect ours are a little bit more expensive, so we can't really expect a collector to invest in $200 worth of action figures at a swoop. So being able to for a collector to be able to go $60 US at a time versus $120 is certainly a better way, better for them, and it just makes more sense for us in terms of our capabilities. And we do have multiple lines we're working on, and we're kind of a small team. We have a lot of creatives all around the world, but we're a pretty streamlined unit in terms of actually developing the stuff.
It's using the Invincible line as an example. Like there's loads of characters in the comic books, and obviously the figures are based more on the Amazon Prime TV show.
Yes.
But the 2 pretty much go hand in hand because of the artwork of the TV show. Anyway, there are so many characters in it, but it's really exciting to kind of just have that 2 at a time drip fed through, because it's kind of like, oh, who's next? Are we going to get to so and so, or are we going to get to this one? And it's little things like that that I think makes it it gives that enjoyment back to collecting for a lot of people. So yeah, that's cool. That's interesting. I just wonder whether it was a case of like, here's 10 figures and you do them 2 at a time, or whether it is things like Lord of the Rings. There are so many characters to know that that's kind of potentially could be rolling on for a while is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how well the line does, from the start, that affects how far in advance we're working on figures. Like if, we're waiting to see how well, like Muppets, for instance, we look at how well each figure does for the most part in terms of orders. And then that kind of affects, how quickly we do the next one, whether we want to take more time for it to sell through or something like that. Whereas with Lord of the Rings, we've gotten into a little bit of a rhythm with that. So we're trying to get up to the point where we can put out 3 or even 4 waves per year. But for the most part, it's, maybe a couple waves per year. So you'll see, and Marvel Select is a one at a time thing. So that's even more complicated. We try to do, around 8 or 10 figures per year for Marvel Select. Just, on a monthly or every other month basis.
Yeah. Quite nicely leads into your next one, doesn't it, Sorrell?
Well, as you know, I'm a massive fan of the Muppets. I've literally got nearly all of the Diamond Select ones now. I think I'm only missing like 2. And I'm really excited for the new ones coming out, but I have to ask, no one ever touches on Muppets Christmas Carol, and I really wish Diamond Select would, because I think the figures that we've got out now are awesome, and it would be cool to kind of see them get a re-release with a bit of a Christmas deco to sort of like turn them into the characters from the film.
I love Christmas Carol. It's probably my favorite Muppet movie. I think it's I think Michael Caine is great in it, first of all, but no, it's the costumes are great. Unfortunately, they are so 100% different. Like they're not like you can just put a scarf on one of them. You have to sculpt a whole Victorian outfit for them. So it's trickier, and we're looking at main characters from the show that we think need to be done first, which is why we announced at San Diego that we were going to do New Zealand and Lips next. But after them, you start getting into sort of smaller characters. Like people are suggesting Beauregard, the janitor, or Pops, and not to call them small. Pops is the beginning of every episode pretty much, but you have to sort of balance, how many people are going to buy it versus how many people are going to buy something like Kermit, but in a different outfit. We try to keep the older figures in production as well, so that people can still get Kermit and Piggy and Fozzie and Gonzo. But I would certainly, if I was collecting the line from outside, I would certainly buy any Christmas Carol figures we put out, because like I said, I love it. But it definitely is something you have to figure out, whether there is a broad demand for that, and not just like you and me and a couple other guys. So it's tricky. It's tricky. You really have to do a little bit of research and maybe even run a poll or two to see what the sort of response is like. But because once you've even just prototyping it is a significant expense, getting it sculpted, printed, painted, to invest that money, it's like to do all that and then have the orders be really low is that's, and then unproduceably low, then that's money lost. But
you guys like to put them out like 2 at a time, like even a Ghost of Christmas Present and a Michael Caine together, like that would be a beautiful little twofer. And
I'd love to do Michael Caine. That'd be great.
Yeah, even if you didn't touch on the other, like your Kermits and because you've already kind of done them with Diamond anyway. But maybe like the Michael Caine and the Ghost of Christmas Present, because he's quite Muppet-fied. And them two together would be an amazing little nod to the franchise without having to go all in with all the Kermits and Fozzies and did Palisades not ever get? I feel like I have a memory of them doing like 2 figures from Christmas Carol. I keep picturing like a Gonzo and a Rizzo in my head, but I guess they never did them. I guess they just showed them or something like that. I think someone did the Mickey's Christmas Carol in figures. I'm not sure if it was Diamond or whoever, but I know Mickey's Christmas Carol figures were a thing back in the day because they're so hard to come by now. At Comic-Con, they go for a silly amount of money.
Oh wow!
But you could get like the Mickey with the Christmas tree and things like that, and they're very nice looking figures. But they cost a fortune now.
Yeah, I forget who made those. I had all the Peanuts Christmas figures, all the Charlie Browns and everything like that.
Yeah, I think Christmas figures are always going to be they're always going to appeal to a slightly wider market than just your action figure collectors, because people put them out for their Christmas displays and stuff, don't they? And I think I think Muppets Christmas Carol will be all right. I think there'll be a few of us
like we're really lobbying for this.
Yeah. All right then. So speaking of properties and stuff, Cobra Kai has obviously been a big one the last couple of years for you guys. You put out quite a few Cobra Kai figures. Cobra Kai as a TV series has just kind of blown up. It's gone from that, available only on YouTube to now being one of Netflix's most popular TV shows. Entering its last series. We're in the last series, aren't we? We've got the last second part or whatever, the last series. And then obviously there's a movie tied in as well. Have you guys got any plans for any further figures with the Cobra Kai line? Because we've only sort of had the original Karate Kid Cobra Kai versions. We haven't had any of the younger girls, the Miguels, the Robbies, all that kind of stuff. Hawk, for example.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate we haven't really gotten to any of them yet. I would have loved to have seen some of the younger characters, Miguel, and I've only watched a couple seasons of it, so I don't remember the name of the guy with the mohawk, but he's great too. But I don't know if we have another series in us. Series 2, we did go with some of the older characters. We went with Terry Silver, and we went with oh gosh, I'm blanking on his name. We did another Johnny, who was really cool in the red gi. That was really cool. But but I don't know if we're going to be doing any more of the Cobra Kai. The orders weren't great on series 2. And maybe that's due to character choice, maybe. So it would have been cool to do some of the younger characters. Maybe with the movie coming up, we could revisit it. That would be very cool. But we do have some other lines that we're bringing out. It's not necessarily to replace Cobra Kai, but lines that are new lines that we're going to launch that maybe will, take away from the time we can give to something like Cobra Kai, especially since we didn't have a great response to the previous wave. So unfortunate, but right now I would not expect any more Cobra Kai.
But watch your space, because something else is coming.
My brain just went new figures.
new property,
new license.
Yeah. Harry Potter.
I remember that conversation from last time. With Rocco, wasn't it? Rocco.
Yeah, Rocco wants Harry Potter for sure.
It came on our podcast, and we were basically making a video to send to you. We were all lobbying, all three of us lobbying for a Harry Potter line.
We went about 20 minutes long just deciding on what would have what diorama piece, and so who would be in what.
You never sent it to me. I would have shared it in a heartbeat with the boss.
We'll dig it out. Go on. That was mine really about that. Only because my son's really into Cobra Kai, and his introduction to Karate Kid was through Cobra Kai. Like a lot of people, he's 12, so a lot of people that kind of age group sort of watched Cobra Kai and then gone back and watched the Karate Kid films. And obviously I shared with him some of the figures and whatnot, and he was like, "Oh, do you think we'll get a Miguel figure? I really want a Miguel." And I was like, "No, I think they're done. I think they're just going to touch the OGs here." And he's like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." But so that was kind of where that question came from.
But to talk about we touched on sort of Muppets, and you're sort of saying that it's hard once you've gone through a lot of the major characters. I can't help but think of Nightmare Before Christmas, because I've been collecting that now for God knows how many years. I think I've got about 4 versions of Jack. But I mean, what other characters in that are left to do now? I'm thinking, like, you guys have touched everything, I think, in Nightmare now.
We have almost touched everything in Nightmare. I think in terms of speaking characters, we've touched everybody. There are some non-speaking characters who are just really cool, Halloween horror archetypes. And we do have a Series 11 in development. I'm not 100% sure it's sculpted, but I'm pretty sure it's but they're definitely all designed, because I've seen the designs. But there's some quieter characters that we are going to make. As far as I know, we're still going forward with that Series 11. So I haven't seen anything yet. It might be a little too late to do it this year, just with some of the backstage development stuff that's happening. But hopefully next year we can put out Series 11. I think right now we have a Series 4 of Best of that we're re-offering with Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, and Pajama Jack. So, and we're trying to keep the first 3 series also available. Best of. Yeah, we'll keep putting out new editions of the older figures so that people can get them if they don't have them. But I'm not sure about the timeline for Series 11. But it will be. But it certainly puts the lie to me talking about Muppets and not having major enough characters, because Nightmare Before Christmas has gone for so long. We're getting to some of the very minor characters.
Yeah.
I'm putting another shelf in here, and I'm on there is going to be literally the band from Nightmare Before Christmas and the Electric Mayhem band on the same shelf. So I need them 2 little bands together.
Battle of the Bands, excellent.
Yeah. So I've got to grab them 2 together.
Nightmare is one of my favorite thing, and obviously you've helped me fill a few of those gaps as well over the years. But it's just, and I think for me, like my youngest son is obsessed with it, and it's such an old film for somebody so young to kind of become obsessed with. I just found it amazing. So anyway, but it's one of my favorites. But there are still a couple of, like, the one I'm missing, the band, the Jim and Jiminy band, and Lock, Shock and Barrel. And apart from that, I think I'm pretty much complete. But I
remember upsetting you when I showed you, because I've got the bath piece, which doesn't come with them anymore. I've got the old one with the bath. I love that piece.
The bath piece, the Lock, Shock and Barrel characters, and the band are really, really hard to get hold of.
Yeah.
But another series, that's really exciting. I'm in the back of my head, I'm trying to think of who it could be. Like, it's like I have no idea. Some of my favorites, though, I love the vampires. I love the 3 vampires. They're so good. And I think that the animation of the film really lends itself to the style of, like, some of the Diamond Select kind of lines. It just works perfectly. And
we need Jack in the Christmas tree next. That's what we need.
Jack in the what?
In the Christmas tree, from the whole what's this? That scene where he's like in the tree, isn't it? He jumps out.
That'd be quite a good one.
I remember he's actually inside the tree.
Yeah. But the one he's like inside the tree with his face sticking out, and he jumps out, and all the elves like jump out the skin.
The snowman Jack is again one of my favorite ones. It's such a, like, it's not an intricate figure because it's a snowman. There's not a huge amount, but the way that your guys have produced it's great, and all the interchangeable bits and stuff.
The bed piece with the elves sleeping in it and Jack knelt at the side of them. Cozy in the dreamland.
I'm just trying to think who. I'm really racking my brain who. But anyway, it's a brilliant line. I'm really, really pleased to hear that that's not finished. That because obviously when you with as a collector, when you start seeing things like best of waves, you kind of think, okay, we're at the end of it, and they're regurgitating it for newer collectors and stuff. But to know that there's something else in the works is really exciting. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm waiting impatiently for more news about that.
Oh, can't wait. Speaking of new lines, Walking Dead, you touched on it a little bit earlier on. Stunning, absolutely stunning. They look fantastic. Kind of came out of nowhere. Was not expecting it from Diamond Select, and then we got the Michonne and the Rick shown off. Just really good. And then obviously we've had Negan and the Walker with all the interchangeable parts.
Mm-hmm.
The sculpting and the painting and everything, beautiful. As somebody that's read the graphic novels to death, they just look like they're out of the page, especially the latest shots that you had of that Negan figure. Literally looks like it's straight off of the page, which is fantastic. I shared it on my socials, and I had a lot of messages from people kind of going, "Oh, this has gone under the radar. I didn't know these were coming. This is amazing." But one of the questions that I got asked quite a bit was that, are you going to re-release them in color at some point? Because obviously in style with the comic book, the whole comic book's black and white. So if you've read I should say graphic novel, if you've read the graphic novel, you know that it's all in black and white. But then obviously the covers are color as well. So do you think you'd ever kind of look at repainting those and re-releasing them again later down the line?
It's certainly possible. I don't think we have them on any sort of schedule or anything like that. But after we've done a couple of black and white waves, it's possible. But right now, I don't know of a schedule or a time when we would do that. Okay. The main line will be black and white.
That's all I need to hear.
So yeah,
I'm happy with that.
So don't expect the color ones there to be color ones anytime soon.
That's fine by me. That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine by me too. They look really cool in black and white, and I think they're shipping. I don't know if I mentioned they're shipping in the next week or two to stores. So I need to get the set out to you guys for sure.
Appreciate it. I am for me, Walking Dead. I've been a fanboy of The Walking Dead for years. I love the graphic novel, as I said. I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed all the spin-offs. It's one of those kind of guilty pleasures that if it's got Walking Dead to attach to it, I'm like, yeah, this is great. But it was always one of those franchises that the figures never quite worked for me. Like all the different figures that were produced, I was kind of like, it doesn't quite hit the mark and all the rest of it. But then seeing these, I was like, that's the Walking Dead figure that we've wanted. So yeah, I'm really excited to see this. Really excited. So bravo, Diamond Select Toys, for hitting a bullseye on those. So
thank you. I think they were sculpted. I think Series 2 and I think Michonne were sculpted by Paul Harding, who works on a lot of different lines for a lot of different companies. And I forget who did Rick. It wasn't Paul. It was somebody else. I forget now. It might have been. I don't think it was Chris Dahlberg, but it might have been. I'm pretty sure it was somebody else. Anyway, they're all designed by Eamon O'Donoghue. So they both did a great job.
Just touching on that as well. That's another thing that I think got to give kind of Diamond Select Toys props for, is when you pick up an action figure or a gallery diorama or whatever it is, you have all of those details on it of who designed it, who sculpted it, all that kind of stuff, and it's nice to kind of see where that's coming from. And I've interacted with quite a few different sculptors and designers and stuff through social media and stuff, and a lot of the time these guys kind of go unnoticed, and people don't realize that they have tons of things on their shelves that were a labor of love for someone. So it is really nice to kind of see those names and be able to kind of look them up and whatnot. So yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, I try to get the credits right whenever possible. Every now and then something slips by where I have the wrong name on something, but for the most part, I managed to get them all correct. But we've got a lot of great artists who work for us from all over the world. One of them's in Argentina. A bunch of them spread across the United States. I think a couple are actually moving to the U.S., which is great, from various places around the world. But yeah, we're fortunate to have a really deep well of talent working for us.
Good. It's really cool. It's really cool. Yeah. I just can't wait for Walking Dead. Sorry, I'm on a Walking Dead. I'm really excited. As someone that's read them since the graphic novels first come out, like I said, I've collected loads of different figures and moved them on because they just didn't work for me. But these I'm really excited for.
Excellent.
Quick, talk about something else, or I'm just going to keep talking about it.
Well, I'm not sure if you can see this shelf behind me here, but I've got the Jada Toys Universal Monsters, the NECA Universal Monsters. I'm missing some Diamond in there. With the fact that you guys love doing the re-release, re-release, the best of series, I think. Do you think you'll ever do a best of the Universal Monsters way from back in the day?
If we ever get the license again, or seek the license again, I think it's certainly possible that you might see some reissues of that. But right now, I think NECA is doing a great job with it. They're doing a lot of really cool stuff. I've got
the Dracula. I've got Dracula. I've got who else have I got? I've got the Dracula one. I got the Mina Van Helsing and Abraham Van Helsing. But then I missed out on like Phantom with the big organ, and there were some really cool ones in that series, like some big diorama pieces. And when I go to Comic-Con now, I see like the Wolfman, and they're stupid money. People ask me for like hundreds of pounds.
Oh wow!
It's like, wow, they've really gone up in price. But it'd be cool to see a re-release of those if you guys ever get the license again. That would be awesome.
Yeah, we made some great figures in that line. I think Gene St. Jean sculpted most, if not all of them, at least the later series. Earlier series, I think Gabriel Marquez might have done a couple of them, like Dracula and that sort of thing. But the vampire hunters you have are both very cool. Gene did an amazing creature for us. We did two different versions of the creature. The second one was even better than the first. First one was maybe a little bit more limited articulation, But the second one was really posable, had a great little diorama base. We did 2 Wolfmen, I think. We did Son of Frankenstein and Regular Frankenstein. The Metaluna Mutant was a really nice piece. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was cool, from Abbott and Costello Meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Yeah. There were a lot of good figures in that line. It'd be really great to make them available again, especially now that I hear they're going for a lot of money. I haven't looked them up in a little while.
Yeah, they go for a lot of money. I think Universal ones are in a bit of a resurgence at the moment because everyone seems to have the license at the moment, and NECA are just killing it with what they're producing. But Jada Toys did a fair few as well, and they're sort of like up and coming now with their Street Fighter line and stuff like that. So yeah, it'd be cool to see you guys do it because like the figures, I remember like the Dracula figure. He's like he can only move his arms, his head and stuff, but he's super posable. I love how he looks, just standing there. It's just such a good piece. So I mean, it'd be really cool to see those get a re-release.
Yeah, definitely.
No, it's cool. So speaking of properties and licenses and stuff, you guys have touched on a little bit of anime. You know, things like Avatar, The Last Airbender and stuff. And then you've got things like Pacific Rim as well. That's not quite anime, but it's in that vein. Are there any plans for any other kind of anime lines from Diamond Select, or was things like Avatar a one and done?
Yes. One of the lines we're working on is, if not an anime line specifically, then anime inspired animation. We did Castlevania not too long ago. Well, a few years ago at this point, but I think technically, if you want to get really technical about it, I think Castlevania and Avatar are both, if they're not animated in the US, then they're at least written and created primarily in the US. So I'm sure there are some people who would say, oh no, that's not real anime. But I think the one that we're doing is might be true anime. I'm not sure. It's on one of the major streamers. So we'll see when we're going to announce that. But I think we're getting close to offering a gallery of it, if not the figures. I think we're doing action figures too, but definitely statues. So you'll see that license in the next couple months probably.
Sorrell's frozen. He's not just pulling a face at us. His screen is frozen. So here you go. He'll be back in a second. The reason I ask is there's one property that the Guyver is an anime from back in the day. And I'm an absolute fanboy. I absolutely love it. I watched it as a kid. There was all the anime, the books and the TV series and stuff. And then they went on and did a film with Mark Hamill. Follow-up film. But yet and it's an old property now, but no one seems to touch it. Like there's a couple of companies that have done figures in the past, but no one really touches it now, which I'm surprised about, because the reason it kind of came to mind is looking at like your Pacific Rim line. It's very similar, as in you have your kind of mech suit and then you have your Mutronic kind of monster figures and stuff. So I think it would just, seeing the Pacific Rim line, I just think how nice a Guyver line, or at least a diorama or something. Just do me a Guyver figure. Like, I think there's a lot of people that would buy it. I'd have the animated one or the live action one. I really don't mind.
No, doing more giant robots would certainly be very cool. And doing some animation characters would be cool too. One of the first lines DST did was Battle of the Planets / Gatchaman. That was back in probably 1999, 2000. We're celebrating our 25th anniversary this year, but that was one of the first things we did. But yeah, that would be really cool to do. I know that the boss loves Studio Ghibli movies, so he's always wanted to do Studio Ghibli. But no, I'd love to do more like giant robots and monsters and stuff like that. I'm trying to think off the top of my head if there's anybody that it specifically like to do. No one's really done good Akira figures, but I'm sure that's a hard license to get. Not since McFarlane, and those weren't very posable at all.
No. But that's it. I just think that for some of the older anime, like the kind of manga kind of era, I think there's some really good characters that I'm sure would sell really well. And the Guyver's one of them. So just keep it.
I don't think I've ever seen the Guyver, but I'm very familiar with it. I've known about it for a long time. I know there definitely were model kits for it, right?
Yeah, there was. And I think it was a brand like Figma or someone did figures recently.
Oh, okay.
And they just go for silly money. They're not very big. They go for silly money. I think there was a third-party company that did like a 1/6 scale figure. Again, just sells for stupid money. But I just think someone like Diamond Select doing a good sort of 7-inch Marvel Select kind of size would just sell. I really do. Even if I bought more, it would definitely sell.
Even a statue would be very cool. We're currently doing some pretty cool Power Ranger statues, which would be kind of in that.
I was gonna touch on that. That some of the Power Ranger stuff that you guys have done is stunning, like absolutely stunning. We've got a friend of ours who does a channel very based around Power Rangers, and yeah, we've kind of. I think if he's not already ordered them, he's definitely ordering them. But he's very into his Power Rangers. But I just think they look stunning. And like I said, I'll kind of echo back to what I said earlier: is that you get some of these statues and some of these gallery dioramas, and you put them on your shelf, and they look just as good as like a hot toy or something in a decent pose because of the detail on them. So, yeah.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. It's not an empty compliment. Like, it genuinely does. Like I said, these turtles, like, a lot of people are shocked when they come to my office. I call it. It's my playroom. When they ask to see stuff and they say, "Oh, let me see the turtles," and I pick it up and it's a solid piece, and they're like, "Oh wow, I thought it was a figure like these ones." And I was like, "No, these are the Diamond Select ones." So yeah, has a lot of people fooled.
Yeah, it's very much its own scale, so it's hard. They're not always compatible, but it's good to know that the turtles look good with 1/6 figures. That's very cool.
I'll have to send you some pictures over.
Yeah,
just like side by side. God, sorry, we got you back. You froze for a little while, and you were pulling this really unattractive face, so I dropped you off.
I thought he was just really unhappy with me.
No, I'm dealing with a bit of a potato PC at the moment, and it likes to crash on me. So midway through a live stream, and it crashes. But my last kind of question was: we've obviously spoke about all the things we love and stuff like that. What one thing would you like to see Diamond Select do personally in the future? Is there a line that you'd love to see get done?
Oh gosh. That's a tough one. You know, there's a lot of classic sci-fi that that the boss has talked about, and I've thought about too, like Blade Runner, stuff like that. Stuff that's really hard to get the license for, or at least the likeness rights for. Like James Bond, would be really cool, but you don't get likeness rights with that license. You have to chase them all down yourself. So it's tricky. It's tricky. I'd love for us to do more of the Disney afternoon stuff, the DuckTales stuff. Darkwing Duck came out great. There were some issues with this figure, but I think we solved them. And then, but I'd love for us to continue with that, which I'm not sure if we have any definite plans, but to do like a launch pad or a Gizmo Duck would be very cool, because I grew up watching that stuff. I love the mini mates. We do the little 2-inch figures, so I'm always looking to get more of that stuff, out there. And there's lots of lines that I'd love to see us tackle. We do a lot of stuff with Hasbro, and one company is bringing back Cops, which is one of my favorite lines. I'd love to see them as mini mates too, because that'd be really cool. But one thing that I really think is really cool that people are doing lately is the mascots, the food mascots. Like I think it was Jada who just did Chester Cheetah.
Yeah,
I'm looking to see if there's other ones that we might be able to do something with, because that'd be really cool. I think they're so visible, and I think that it's great synergy, and I think there's lots of different options that maybe we can find some companies to be willing to work with us for that, because that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I mean the Disney afternoon. I mean the way you guys did the Darkwing Duck, that would be so easy to kind of go in and do like the Rescue Rangers, like Chip and Dale.
Yes, that'd be cool.
In that same style with the a few different heads and stuff, like do them in the same sort of way with the static bodies, movable head. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, life-size Rescue Rangers, because they'd be.
Yeah. They really would be, wouldn't they? They really would. I've actually got a video for the Darkwing Duck ready to go, where I've kind of looked at it, and we actually talked about that particular figure the other day on one of our shows, because there's there's a lot of toy brands out there that do a lot of different scales, and not a lot of them do it well when they scale down, that they lose articulation or lose detail, and you end up with almost like an overpriced statue instead of an articulated figure. And we were saying that Darkwing Duck figure really set the bar for what you can achieve with a smaller figure, that you can put in those heads, you can put in the accessories, and you can build it up to be a solid product. And I think that really set the bar for those smaller scaled characters. That makes sense.
Yeah, we tried to make it as articulated as possible. I know some of the early prototype images that got out were not articulated, but we tried to add in as much as possible to the figure. And as far as the scale goes, I think we were trying to make it 1/10 scale, in scale to, say, a human character. However big they would appear to that character. He's obviously a little shorter than a lot of the characters in the show, like Launchpad and Taurus Bulba, for instance. Everybody wants us to do more villains from that line, which would be very cool. But picking the villain is tricky, and I'd love to do more heroes first, just like the ones I mentioned. But yeah, 1/10 scale is kind of our thing. The Muppets are all 1/10 scale. We want them to work with our figures. We want all the figures to work together in that same universe.
Yeah, it's just a really good. The thing that really sold it for me was the simple inclusion of the cape, and having a static cape and having the windswept cape, and then an alternate head. I know we got 2 for Darkwing, didn't we? And I think there was three heads in total in the pack. But just having that and just being able to change those around, you almost kind of forget about articulation, because you can have almost the same pose but have a completely different figure. And that was a brilliant one. Okay, so
I would say Roger Rabbit would be good in that scale as well. Imagine a Roger Rabbit in that style with changeable heads. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that's another license where I'm not sure how difficult that one would be to get, but that'd be very cool to do all those characters. I mean, not Mickey and Donald, but the baby and
the Weasels,
Jessica and the Weasels and Judge Doom. Is that his name? Is Judge Doom?
Yeah, Judge Doom.
Yeah,
that would be a really good.
And just Eddie Valiant, just an Eddie Valiant figure would be just so awesome.
Yeah, there's an old British animated series from like the mid to late 80s called Trapdoor, and it was like you remember it, Sorrel?
I remember the Trapdoor. Yeah.
And it was I don't even know what you'd call it, but it was like a creature. It's like a Play-Doh, like a plasticine kind of animation. Yeah, have a look at it afterwards, Zach.
I will.
And it was really simple. He was kind of just this lump of clay, and he kind of was like the Igor type character in a castle. And basically, you don't go down the trapdoor, and all these nasty things come in. And basically each episode, something escaped from the trapdoor, and he had to kind of work out and kind of get back. And I'm dying for someone to touch it. It's probably not something that Diamond Select would do, because, as I said, it was a British cartoon from the 80s, but it was just so. It was so stereotypically British, wasn't it? It was like the accents in it and everything. But it was one of these ones that, as kids, we kind of just was obsessed with. And it had a killer theme tune. But it was just, so never mind. If you ever fancy, just tap into Trapdoor like that.
I want to look it up now, because I grew up watching Danger Mouse, which was British, right?
Yeah.
I grew up loving Danger Mouse. That was fantastic. I also watched Count Duckula, but I don't know if that was British or not, because the main duck was American.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
But then all the other characters were British. Oh, Ducky! His maid and the butler, and I forget if there were bad guys, like there was a vampire hunter, I think, too. But anyway, those were 2 shows I watched a lot of when I was a kid. But now I got to look up Trapdoor, because it sounds awesome.
It was good. Danger Mouse would be a really good one as well, actually. But I don't know,
I think somebody did a Danger Mouse figure, I'm pretty sure. But to do like a full line with like Penfold and the Frog and all that stuff would be very cool.
There's a whole bunch of British cartoons that are in that vein that would be an amazing wave of figures for us Brits. Things like I'm going to rattle some off now, whether you've heard of them or not. So things like Super Ted.
Banana Man, was that one of yours? Banana Man?
No, yeah, that was it.
Trapdoor, obviously, Danger Mouse, Count Duckula, Inspector Gadget. Was Inspector Gadget American or was that English?
That's American, very American.
I think it was American, but I watched that too. I grew up on that. There have been some pretty cool Inspector Gadget figures. I think the last one that came out wasn't very posable, but it came with all the gadgets and stuff like that. So I'm very curious to get my hands on one of those.
And just as well, I don't know if you're familiar with the character, but Mr. Bean, like Rowan Atkinson's Mr. Bean, like a select scale Mr. Bean figure. Brilliant. Yeah,
that'd be fantastic. I mean, my dream probably, I mean, just from growing up and just loving it so much, and we touched on this a little bit, our company back in the day, would be Monty Python, because we did Holy Grail figures back.
Yeah,
I think we did a wave or two of Holy Grail figures back in the early 2000s. But I love, my God, to do like Ministry of Silly Walks, John Cleese, and to do like Gangster Michael Palin, where he's like threatening the army base and saying, "Oh, this would be a shame if something happened to these nice tanks you got." Just like so many different outfits and characters. That'd be so fun.
That would be good. That'd be a good line, like almost like a best of Monty Python line.
Yeah, someone tried Saturday Night Live figures back in the day, a long time ago, and they did like a couple characters from like different time periods of the show. They did like John Belushi as a samurai cutting a cake in half, and not necessarily the most famous sketches, but some of the more distinctive outfits that people had. And they had a whole series 2 planned. I don't think they even got to. I have all these memories of toy lines that were revealed, or second series that were revealed back in the 2000s when I was working for Toy Fair magazine, and they never came out. All these great toy lines, unfortunately.
Unless it was a Jim Carrey lifeguard, then that's one of my favorite skits where he's lifeguarding the little mini pool, the hot tub kind of thing.
Was that from In Living Color? Was that was from? That was.
No,
In Living Color was another sketch comedy show that had the Wayans brothers and Jim Carrey, and it had Keenan Ivory Wayans, it had Damon Wayans, it had a lot.
I think it might have been,
and Jennifer Lopez was one of the dancers. They had dancers,
wow.
but no, he did a ton of funny characters. He did I guess the lifeguard was one of them, but he did a fire safety chief, and he would like come on. He had horrible burns, and he would like teach people about fire safety and get horribly mangled and injured. There was a Homie the Clown was another character that Damon Wayans did. Very funny.
Yep. Oh, see, I got to go and look those up now. So, right then. So my last kind of question then. So I kind of mentioned this at the beginning about watching you guys with San Diego Comic-Con and the live streams and stuff like that. Obviously, we do need more. But we need to get you over here to England. We need Diamond Select Toys at one of the London cons, or like I said, we do MCMs like the big one in London, sort of in October time. But to see Diamond Select presents would be fantastic. So, but if we can't have that, just keep up with the live streams. You kind of answered my question at the beginning by saying that you're going to do some more with it moving forward. So,
yeah, no, I'd love to go to England for a show. That'd be fantastic. They did. Part of the team went to Star Wars Celebration when it was in England, like 2 years ago, I guess. I went to Anaheim like 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago they went to England, and then next one's in Japan next year. But it's tough. It's tricky to get everything over there. But we also have a distributor in England, Diamond Comics UK, which was a big help with the Star Wars show, and would probably be a big help if we decided to do MCM. But that would be great. Most of our, I would say most of our lines are worldwide licenses. There's only a handful that are like just for the US or just for, North and South America. But it would be really cool to do. I haven't been to England since I was a little kid. When I was a kid, I got to go over there for a family wedding, and that was a lot of fun.
Well, there you go. You need to be coming back over, Zach. That's what it's just good. I just think we were saying at the beginning before you came on, like just to increase that presence of Diamond Select over here in the UK, because it feels like it's one of those, like, people do know who they are and what you guys do and stuff, but then it almost gets kind of overshadowed and stuff, especially at things like these conventions where you have like a lot of other brands, and there's you know, and that's why, you know, we're sharing things like the Walking Dead figures, and people go mad and go, these are amazing. When are they coming out? How do we get hold of them? That kind of stuff. So
yeah.
You ever get any plans to come over this way, you let us know, because we will be there.
Yeah, I'll need to stay on your couch.
You can stay back here. It's fine.
Yeah, I really try to work on, you know, increasing our visibility, just, you know, all over the place, all around the world. I send stuff to you guys in the UK. I send stuff to people in Italy, you know, just to get reviews out there in different countries, different languages. I have somebody I send stuff to in Turkey. You know, there's just people who I think can spread our, you know, worldwide influence and share, you know, what we're doing, which, you know, can be overshadowed. There's a lot of companies making, you know, more I don't know what the word is, prolific lines, you know, putting out a lot more product. And, you know, some companies are known really for one line or two lines that they do very well and do a lot of figures for, whereas we kind of dabble in a lot of different things. You know, I sometimes wonder if we should be, you know, if we should streamline a little bit and focus more on certain lines and less on other lines. But we do sort of dabble. And that means that we aren't necessarily known for just one thing. And some of our other maybe smaller licenses can get sort of, you know, overlooked by the general collecting community. But it's really too bad. I do my best, and I try to get as much information out there as possible. We have great press outlets like yourselves, and you know, I email everybody every week to let them know when something's coming out, and everybody say every month when we have new stuff for pre-order. But it's a battle, because there's never been more toys being produced than there are right now for collectors. It's just anything you want, you know, with certain exceptions like Banana Man, you know, you can get an action figure for nowadays. It's pretty amazing.
I think that, you know, just to touch on what you said there, I think what you guys are doing with the different areas and stuff, I think it works, because one thing that I believe to be consistent about Diamond Select toys, and what I say to a lot of people that I speak to, is that when people kind of come to you because they've seen the Walking Dead figures, and then they come onto the website, the quality and the kind of consistency is across all of those lines. So it's not like with other brands or other toy companies where they might be very good at doing one thing, but then you could buy another thing and it will be a completely different type of figure. If that makes sense. Whereas with you guys, it's kind of like if that blue diamond's on the box, you kind of know what you're getting, you know. And so I think that even though you do kind of dabble with different lines and stuff, the consistency is there. And I think with most people, I think if they become a Diamond Select fan, they're a Diamond Select fan. Makes sense.
That's good to know. You know, there are obviously people out there who, you know, having tried Diamond Select, it's not really their cup of tea. You know, maybe they don't like how we handled, you know, soft goods or, you know, accessories or something like that. Or articulation is frequently, you know, questioned. Like, you know, is this the best way we could have done the articulation? And we try to listen to everything everybody says, and we try to improve the product from wave to wave. And I think we do for the most part. You know, and we learn from our mistakes, and we do try to make the product better. And when you know, something goes wrong, we do try to make good with our collectors. So it's definitely you know, I don't want to say we're an acquired taste, but it's certainly something where we battle for every fan that we get.
The thing is, though, one thing that you guys do well is, like, I know there's not a single creator out there. Like, I know when I talk to people and stuff, every time there's a Muppet release or a Nightmare Before Christmas release, people get excited for those. It's like there's so many companies doing Marvel, Star Wars, but nobody's doing the Muppets and Nightmare Before Christmas and those little niche products like that. And I think those lines,
and Banana Man and Danger Mouse. You know what? With a lot of my reviews, when I look at Diamond Select products, 9 out of 10 times I will say what you lack in articulation, they make up for in detail and design and paint. So you know, if you want something that's super highly articulated, then this probably isn't the brand for you. But if what you're lacking in the articulation, you're making up for in the likeness in the face and the sculpting and the paint and the detail and the accessories and that. So I think it's, you know, it's an acquired taste, but I don't think you're doing anything wrong. I think it's all where it should be.
Thank you.
My opinion. Yeah. You got anything else, Sorrell? Have we rushed through those 10? That was.
We did. We kind of rattled through them. I think we got a bit excited. We kind of rattled them off.
We did, but there's a lot of things there. A lot of things that you kind of said that what's exciting. That there's some new properties coming from Diamond Select, which is exciting.
Yeah, we got a bunch of new licenses. We announced one license at the last show at San Diego, which is Berserker. Which is the Keanu Reeves comic book, Keanu Reeves and Matt Kint. It's a very cool comic book, very violent comic book, but it's we're going to do statues and action figures. So keep an eye out for those. I think we're going to be revealing at least one of those in the next couple of months. But I'm trying to think if there's anything new that's going to get offered in the next month, because we're going to have another batch of new product that we're going to show off end of September, like around the 20th or so. And I'm trying to think if there's anything I can tease. We're going to do a new Mighty Morphin Power Rangers gallery, which is a character I don't think has really been done in 3D before, which should be very cool. We've got a new wave of Marvel Mini-Mates, the X-Men Inferno box set, which is very cool. We showed that at San Diego.
Awesome.
A new animated style statue, Dr. Octopus. A new Lord of the Rings gallery diorama of Frodo, which we're going to show off at the end of the month, which is very cool. We showed off Mecha Godzilla Legends in 3D bust at the show. We're going to offer that for pre-order. And we have a new AEW All Elite Wrestling gallery diorama we're going to offer. Plus a couple of Star Wars pieces, a new PVC diorama, and a new Premier Collection 1/7 scale statue. So it's not as full a month as it usually is, but there's 8 really cool products that we're going to show off. Some of them have been seen, a couple of them, but a couple of them are brand new, never seen before.
Amazing. I look forward to seeing that and sharing that. Couple of things just quickly, just jumping into a couple of comments that I've seen popping up here. Shelley said that we'd love some horses to go with the Lord of the Rings figures. So there we go. That would
be very cool. Yes.
That's and then she quickly followed that up with yes to Muppet Christmas Carol figures. So that's at least 4 of us are on board with that. So that's cool. Bethany said color should be chase figures. I'm guessing she's referring to the Walking Dead, saying having them as a chase or a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive or something like that. Or maybe not San Diego Comic-Con exclusive because we can't get out there. So that's it. There was another one here that I wanted to pull up as well. It's Shelley again. Yes, please do Danger Mouse figures. And then Bax has said, I'd love Honey, I Shrunk the Kids figures.
Rick Moranis figure would be fantastic.
That would be really cool.
I don't know about the kids. I'm trying to think. It's hard for me to even remember what the kids look like or who played them or anything like that. But Rick Moranis is one of those characters who I think we've probably made the only Rick Moranis figure ever, which was for Ghostbusters. 1 and 2. We did 2. I think we did 2 Louis Tully figures. So no, he's a legend, right? So we definitely have to make him, and a giant ant for the kids to ride on.
Why not? But yeah, no, that a lot of interesting stuff there, Zach. Anything else that you want to add or say, Sorrell? Is there anything that you want to?
Yeah, one thing I need to add, just because my wife will kill me if I don't mention it, because she's messaged me 3 times now. She's saying she's going back to when we were talking about the static little figures like Darkwing Duck, and she's saying Hello Kitty, please Hello Kitty.
Oh man, we'd have to shell out a lot of money to get that license, probably. That's a big name license. And also, I don't even know how you do articulation on those figures, but no, I mean, my wife loves Hello Kitty too, so I'm sure she'd be all over it. But there's certainly a lot of fun characters. But yeah, it's tough to know what sort of product you'd make. There's not a lot of, I mean, are there a lot of figurines of Hello Kitty out there? I mean, I guess there are. It's it's a lot of stuff where she's printed on the merchandise, but it's hard to find really good collectible figurines of all the different cast members, like Bots Maru and My Melody and stuff like that. Different Sanrio characters. That'd be very cool to do something with that. Maybe we could do mini mates, the little 2-inch figures.
Mini mates would be cool. I know Universal Studios is killing it because they did all the crossover ones. You can get like Chucky Hello Kitty and Jaws Hello Kitty and things like that. Crossover lines.
I knew they did a Godzilla crossover at one point where they were making like different monster suits for the different characters. But I didn't know about Jaws. That's crazy. Yeah,
you can get a dress. She's like inside of like Bruce. It's like you see Hello Kitty's head sticking out of the mouth and stuff.
That's awesome.
Cool.
So weird.
One last thing that I'll add, because it's something that comes up on our podcast all the time. Play sets. So Diamond Select toys have always been really good and historically been really good with diorama pieces and stuff like that. Just touching on the Ghostbusters, for example, being able to build the whole front of the firehouse or the rooftop scene, like absolutely brilliant. I'm still chasing certain parts of that, which are hard to get hold of, but really cool. But mini mates would really lend itself well to a play set. Like you could do some really good kind of play sets that would be for collectors. You would have like a diorama piece essentially, but then for the younger collectors, actually something to put them in and play in would be really good.
A long time ago, we looked into doing a mini mate scale diorama. I think it was out of resin. So it was like a sewer diorama. There's a lot of different places to put characters, and it was just really cool looking. And I think this is before my time, way before my time. I think the orders probably weren't there to go into production, so they never did. But we've done a lot of vehicles for the mini mates. We did like Knight Rider, the Munster car, Alien APC. We did like a pirate ship, a jet, I think we did like an armored car. We did like a big Terminator robot. We've done a lot of different stuff. We never got around to doing the Ghostbusters car, which is unfortunate. And we just did the AEW wrestling ring, which is probably the closest thing we've gotten to a play set for mini mates ever. But it's very cool. So, more mini mates. If we can get a big retailer behind mini mates in terms of numbers of orders, then I think anything's possible. Right now mini mates is sort of in between big retailers. We were at Walgreens for a long time. Before that, we were at Toys R Us for a long time, and we've done some stuff with Hot Topic, which is a big chain. I don't know if you have Hot Topic in the UK.
No.
But they're like a cool kids punk kind of store. But a lot of pop culture stuff. We've done some stuff with Nightmare Before Christmas and Alice in Wonderland. We did some of that there, and we've done a lot of stuff with GameStop too. But to find a big retailer that would be interested in doing something really special with mini mates would be great, because then the possibilities are endless. A long time ago, we did a Peter Pan mini mates for the Disney store, which were very cool, and we made a pirate ship for that, and it came with Smee, I think, but we did like 2 box sets with all the characters in them, and they were really great. They were a lot of fun. So doing more mini mates vehicles and play sets is certainly something I'm very, very interested in, because I love that line, the entire line. Marvel mini mates have been around for 21 years. Marvel mini mates in general have been around for 22 years, but Marvel mini mates started in 2003. So they've been around for a long time. That line is still going. I think the next set is going to be the X-Men set I mentioned is going to be our 87th regular series of mini mates. We did a lot for Toys R Us that were like kind of overlapped with regular series. We did a lot of box sets that we didn't count in that, but in terms of regular series, and we transitioned from 2-packs to a box set. We're up to number 87. So we're heading for 100, and we got a lot of cool sets planned for that. A lot of cool Marvel sets and some really cool sets based on new licenses, which I'm very excited about.
Exciting times ahead. Zach, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Apologies about the mix up with the time there.
No, it's probably me. Don't worry about
it. We're going to take the blame. You're our guest. We'll take the blame on this one. Right. Very quickly, just for anyone that obviously wants to look up anything that we talked about, obviously diamondselecttoys.com is the Diamond Select Toys website. You can see there all of the different types of all the different brands that they work with, all the types of figures and statues and gallery dioramas, the mini mates, all that kind of stuff that we've talked about, as well as things like the Diamond Select exclusives and stuff. So do go and check out their website. It is an absolute treasure trove, I think. Really is. Zach, stick around. We'll have a quick chat with you before you log off. But for now, we'll just end the stream, and then we'll have a chat with you once we've kind of gone off air. But thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me, and thank you everybody in the chat for coming by and asking questions. That's great.
Perfect. Sorrel, we've got to say it because we say it every time. If they're not watching us live and they're watching us on repeat, what do they need to put in the chat?
#CatchUpCrew.
#CatchUpCrew. Let us know if you're watching us on repeat with the #CatchUpCrew. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you on our regular show on Sunday. Till then, keep it geek.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and of course subscribe. Tune in next week for another live show. Until then, keep it geek.